If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
You may know the iconic Tia Carrere from Wayne's World or even True Lies. Yes, she could even play a good villain. Some may need to be reminded that Carrere also is a 2-time Grammy Award winner. You may know her across generations, from her contributions to both the animated original version of Lilo and Stitch and the recent live-action version of Lilo and Stitch, the highest-grossing movie of 2025 with more than $1 billion. Lilo and Stitch is now on digital, streaming exclusively on Disney Plus, starting on September 3rd. What a delight to have the inimitable Tia Carrere here on Later with Mo Kelly. Miss Carrere, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great. I've got my evening voice on even.
I love it. I could make the argument that as a kid born in Honolulu, that Lilo and Stitch, either version was a perfect fit for you as an actor. But when you had dreams of being a singer, which were temporarily set back after being eliminated on Star Search, did you have any idea that acting might be the way forward?
Well, it's funny. My musical partner, Daniel Ho, that I got the Grammys with, we were in the talent contest when we were in grade school. So that was already, bubbling along. But movies are the things that really I've been making my living at since day one. I was discovered in a grocery store in Waikiki, and that's how I got my first movie. And that has just been going on for the past 41 years. When I moved to LA, I did Star Search, like 84, whatever it was, but it was for the acting competition, strangely enough. They didn't have enough space in the singing part.
Oh.
They didn't have it in the supermodel. There was a supermodel part where you were hosting in between, if you remember back in the day. It's funny. So I did the acting competition, which is so random because, how would you judge acting? Who's better, Pacino or De Niro? Neither, both, all of the above. You can't really judge acting the same way.
Since you mentioned acting, you've acted on soap operas, on daytime TV. You've done movies, voiceover, singer as well, as we were just discussing. Is there a discipline or format that you enjoy more or less than others?
I love both. I really do. I'm so grateful that I get to do both. There's a feeling I get when I sing, and I think it's the vibration in your chest, in your body, the how it connects with the audience. I love the feeling of singing live in the room, and then seeing people, especially when I sing Aloha Oi, the song from Lilo and Stitch. And I'll see people, they'll start crying. It's not that sadistic thing, but I just love that it touches their heart. I'm sad that it makes them sad, but it's something like, they say when tears like wash your soul.
Yes.
And, they carry a sadness in them and they're remembering somebody that they lost. And I think it's such a beautiful moment to share. And I think music does that or can do that with people in a way. It's so visceral. It's so real, the connection.
Aloha, oi, aloha, oi, ike ona ona no, ikalipo, one fond embrace, aho ia, oh. Until we meet again.
That's a nice transition. Let's get into that. There's Lilo and Stitch 2002, where you voice Nani, and there's Lilo and Stitch, the live-action 2025 remake, which is available on digital and Disney Plus on September 3rd, where you play social worker Mrs. Keikoa. What was it like revisiting the Lilo and Stitch franchise?
Yeah, it's funny that, 23 years later, so I was that messy, out of control teenager that couldn't get her act together, trying to keep her family together. And now I'm the social worker that's poised to break that family up in a way, but I think it's beautiful how the character was created, and the point of view is like, okay, so Dean Fleischer Camp, the director of this live action film, his mom is really a social worker. And so he wanted to have more empathy. And, they're not all just like the big bad, people that are going to take away the kid. Mine is more advocating, trying to help her and mentor her to keep her family together. So it's done with great empathy, and I appreciate that. So I also had a backstory for myself that I said, hey, what if I actually went through the system? I'm a child that went through the foster system and came out the other end and got this profession that I can help mentor. And he loved that. And so it really colored my whole performance and the way that it was. So I like that I can be somebody that's advocating and helping keep families together.
Nani, we both know this didn't go well today. I can see you're trying, but you're too smart for me to beat around the bush here. I know it hasn't been that long since your parents passed away, but my job is to make sure that Lilo is in a stable environment. And I can't say that in good conscience right now. Listen, I know this is a lot. You're practically a kid yourself. Look, you seem like a goal-oriented person. We have a new director coming into town next week. And I would really, really love to tell him that you girls have turned a corner. So why don't we come up with some goals to achieve by then?
Yeah.
I like the nuance of what I would call the more serious and adult themes. You have children who've lost their parents and they're trying to keep that family together, as we were just discussing. But also it's a coming of age and dealing with some uncertainty of life and its twists and turns. Would you agree with me that the live action was a more appropriate format to deal with some of these themes as opposed to animated?
Oh, no, I think they're both fantastic and superlative. I think the fact that this is live action made it imperative to handle things in a very realistic manner. So in the animated feature, it's a beautiful watercolor world. And so you could go on this fantastical journey, and it doesn't have to be literal, but because we're in the real world now, looking at real people, the stakes have to be real world stakes. And even the resolution at the end that people are taking issue with, I think it's accurate, because we do have to go and put our face mask on before we help each other, on the airplane. So she has to uplift herself to be able to help her family and to help her community. And I don't want to give away the ending, but that's why I'm sort of speaking like in those terms. I think it's a really beautifully nuanced, realistic rendering of that watercolor world that we saw 23 years ago. And I'm very excited to see what Chris Sanders comes up with for the live action sequel, because, he's from that previous world and now bringing it into this real live world. It's going to be very interesting to see the marriage between the two. It's going to be exciting.
Have you changed the way that you approach certain projects like this? Because now you're a mother as opposed to earlier in your career in which you weren't. Has your growth in life changed how you approach these projects, which are more family oriented?
Well, 100%. I definitely dig deeper and think more deeply about how to approach a character. There's no like one note. They're not just the villain. They're not just the kid. And I think that's what people were responding to in this movie, is there's such a depth, even to Nani. Like my character Nani in the cartoon, she was like tough and, kicking butt and frustrated with her sister. And it was very filmic because it was an animated world. But in this movie, you had to see the subtlety in Sydney's eyes.
Yes.
Who played Nani. You have to see the subtlety of her being conflicted and being scared that she's not going to be able to pull it off, and overwhelmed. And I love, again, how this has touched people's hearts. How grown women and men, honestly, have come up to me and said, I can't believe that I spent 20 minutes of this film just really weeping. It just brought up so much in me, and the struggles I had as a young person. And I can't believe how much it really affected me deeply, and that longing for their family. It's beautiful. That's when you know that your art form has touched people, that you know that you successfully created something special there.
If you're just joining the show, I'm speaking with Tia Carrere. Yes, you know her from Wayne's World, True Lies, and so much more. But of course, we're talking about Lilo and Stitch, now available on digital, and it's streaming exclusively on Disney Plus coming up on September 3rd. I will have more with Tia Carrere in just a moment. KFI AM 640, we're live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mo Kelly, Later with Mo Kelly. We're talking Lilo and Stitch with Tia Carrere, which is now on digital. It's streaming exclusively on Disney Plus coming up on September 3rd. And that's a good place to pick up. Tia, I wonder though, since now the business of making movies has changed, when you and I were growing up, we didn't have this outlet called streaming where we could have the movie shortly after it leaves theaters and see it again and again and again. For those who may watch it for the first time or maybe for the second or third time, but on the digital format of Disney Plus, is there anything different or in addition to what they may have seen in the theaters?
I think if you get the DVD, you get like, I don't know if there's deleted scenes, director's commentary, stuff like that. You'll get on the DVD that releases on the 26th. But I think once it's on Disney Plus, unless they put out TV specials, they might be putting these little shorts in between.
Gotcha.
You know how they do? It's like, because they interviewed us on the set, and I've seen some of these coming out here and there, advertising the film. So I'm sure that Disney Plus will release these little behind the scenes that we did on set, and explaining how they do stuff, and funny little short videos that they did for marketing and stuff. But it's expensive to go see the movies, let's be honest. So maybe mommy and daddy and a couple of the older kids went, that, they said, okay, we'll spend on it. It's expensive. So now I love that it's on Disney Plus, where everybody can go. Grandma, grandpa, great grandma, great grandpa, and the kids, the littles that maybe were a little too young to go to the theater to really absorb it. And so they're like, or maybe it'll be a little too scary for them a few months ago. Now they can see it on TV, sitting there with, mommy and daddy hugging them, so that they don't get scared. They're like, oh, ha, ha, ha. You can sort of make it into more of a thing. Because there's some like outer space stuff and, some stuff where they're chasing and there's real peril. So I think it'll be great to be able to sit on the couch and watch it with the family, the whole family.
Ms. Carrere, I've appreciated you spending this time with me. Two more quick questions. Yeah. Number one, I buried the lead, or I should say we buried the lead, because you mentioned the apparent sequel that is in the works for Lilo and Stitch. What are you allowed to tell us?
All I can say is that we were at San Diego Comic-Con a couple weeks ago, and Chris Sanders, and the original creator of the character Stitch, he did it in art school when he was like, I don't know, 20 or something. Chris Sanders, myself, Sydney, who plays Nani, and Maya, who plays Lilo, we were all on the panel, and the big announcement that they are indeed doing a sequel. But that doesn't surprise us, because, the first one did $1 billion. Our little blue friend is a billionaire, yes. So they had to do a sequel, and we're all there for it. They did do a sequel of the first one. Stitch has a glitch. So what remains to be seen is if they follow that storyline or use that as a jumping off point, or if they don't do that at all. I mean, that's really firmly in Chris Sanders' hands. We will see. We'll have to watch this space.
I know that people are listening right now who have loved your work over the period of many years, and people, I guess, find you at different points in your career and our lives. So when people recognize you and they come up to you, are they saying, oh, that's Tia Carrere from Wayne's World or True Lies or Lilo and Stitch, or is it something else?
Well, right now I'm going back on tour September till October. And I love when people respond to the music, because it's like, again, that feeling live in the room. So I'm going to be going, like, you can check my website. I haven't updated it, but there's some dates on there, like September 23rd till October 18th, I think, if you look on tiacarrere.com. But lately, okay, so this is the funny thing. I went to the Squid Games like premiere this last, I don't know, a few months ago, and there's a red carpet, and all the stars from the Squid Games are there, and all these people are coming up to me, taking pictures with me because they recognize Mrs. Keikoa, and I was like, wow, that is where I knew that this movie was hitting a chord. This is before it was like $1 billion movie, or whatever. This is like the first week, and the amount of people that had gone to see Lilo and Stitch in the theaters was staggering, just by the amount of people that were recognizing me in that moment. And I just had a feeling, I'm like, this is going to be a huge movie. If this is an indicator, yeah, it was very early, very early days. And this was already happening. So Mrs. Keikoa definitely, because Mrs. Keikoa doesn't have much hair and makeup, so she looks more like what I look like in real life.
And we love it. Lilo and Stitch is now on digital streaming exclusively on Disney Plus starting September 3rd. And there you can catch the wonderful, the inimitable Tia Carrere. I appreciate you coming on the show on such short notice. We celebrate your success. Thank you so much. And we'll be looking out for the sequel of Lilo and Stitch in the coming years.
Next year, I think.
Next year. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
now you're just breaking news now.
Oh, no, I don't know. No, I don't know. No, I don't know. Well, you know what? Wait, no, what? I'm lying. I just lied to you. I'm so sorry. We're so early in our relationship, I'm already lying. It can't possibly be, because they got visual effects and stuff they got to do. That takes like a year.
I'll take it this way. We'll wait until after next year so they can correct us.
Yes.
It's not a lie yet.
I'll let them prove me wrong.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now on Later with Mo Kelly, Mark talks about movies and TV, pontificates about pop culture. Rahner Report with Mark Rahner.
It's Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeart app. I'm Mark Rahner, and this is the Rahner Report. We're going to switch it up tonight because this is what people are talking about, and we don't just talk about superhero movies or horror flicks here. Finger on the pulse. I'm sure all the guys here made sure to watch the series finale of And Just Like That last night. Put on a comfy muumuu, make a Cosmo, or in Tuala's case, a Virgin Cosmo, and settle in to watch Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte follow through on their long-standing murder-suicide pact. Here's some of the HBO promo for the finale.
What is that? Tommy Tomato. You don't have to eat alone. Lunch with a side of shame.
Our guest list dropped from 13 to 6.
Now, Joy isn't coming either. She's just uncomfortable with families.
I may be alone for the rest of my life. There will be a new man in your life. You set me up with Mark? He is smart and cultured. He's been married 3 times.
I'm in love with a man who will never get married.
It's about their feelings, their disappointments. Is it ever about us?
What are we gonna do?
We return to something more wild, free. You are so fabulous.
Oh, well, that was never in question.
Or maybe they didn't have a murder-suicide pact. I didn't really stick with the show very long after Mr. Big cashed out after overexerting himself on a Peloton. And then Peloton stock took a dive. And then a couple of women accused Chris Noth, who played Mr. Big, of sexual assault. And I just had to wash my hands of the whole thing. Too messy. Also, the show wasn't that good. But look, cards on the table here. When Sex and the City had its original run on HBO, it was some water cooler TV. It was a little edgy and transgressive for mainstream American TV, even if it was on pay cable. 4 affluent women in New York and all their romances and hookups with assorted life and career stuff thrown in. It was part of HBO's stable of cool grown-up TV, along with The Wire, Rome, which not enough people have seen or remember, Oz, The Sopranos. It was part of that lineup. Don't pretend otherwise now, like you're ashamed, like it gave you. So you may want to disavow it now, but we all watched it, okay? Try to picture Mo and Tuala painting each other's toenails on a Sunday night during each new episode. It was fun. I even had a buddy in an episode, and he was proud of it. Sex and the City ran 6 seasons, then it had a couple movies, and then this revival, reunion, whatever, called And Just Like That began in 2021. Why not? Everyone likes nostalgia. Bring back your old friends like Cobra Kai, but with women in their 50s who could probably still fight more believably than Cobra Kai. Sweep the leg, spread the legs, do what you're most skilled at. Whatever your kung fu is, do that. So I tuned in for the finale last night. Show's been around for 27 years. Why not see how they wrap it up and say goodbye? It's Thanksgiving. Carrie's coming to terms with maybe or maybe not having someone to soak her teeth with and grow older with. Charlotte's married and her husband has or has had cancer and is unable to perform his husbandly duties. Miranda's son's obnoxious and has even more obnoxious friends who come over for dinner. The actress who played the cool nun Van Helsing in the recent Dracula miniseries, Dolly Wells, is now Miranda's girlfriend. Oh yeah, Miranda's into chicks now, which happens. And Samantha, who Kim Cattrall played, is just out of the picture. Sure, it's some HBO money, but she was the smart one now, wasn't she? Girlfriend, this will go down in history as one of the worst and least satisfying series finales of all time. A murder-suicide pact would have been so much better than what we got. I'm not saying it was worse than the one for Lost, but when I say this show is a Code Brown, this time I mean it literally. The highlight of this otherwise irritating, dull, anticlimactic episode with characters written so they're impossible to like or care about is an overflowing toilet with lots of poop that we get to see. How edgy. Listen, I've never been big on focus groups, but I'm just trying to imagine how that one might have gone. What's the one thing you still haven't seen on Sex and the City that you'd like to? The one taboo that hasn't been explored, something really naughty that no one else has had the nerve to, go there. Some number 2. Do you even care about spoilers at this point? Victor Garber, who's great in everything, plays an older guy interested in Carrie, and she's looking for ways to avoid going home with him after the dinner at Miranda's place for really irritating Thanksgiving dinner. He goes in the bathroom to do a number 1. He flushes. And the worst thing in the world starts to happen. The water starts rising, and it keeps rising. And listen, I live in such an old house that when my landlady took a shower at the time, I usually do every single workday, by the way, so it's not like... Anyway, I had to come to work Monday feeling like Andy Dufresne after crawling through the Shawshank prison sewers. Bad plumbing is one of my top phobias. But that's going to be your big moment in the farewell episode of a beloved franchise that's been around 27 years. That's going to be the most memorable thing in the last episode anyone sees after knowing these characters nearly 3 decades. That's what you want to leave people with? Oh, Carrie decides she's a strong woman on her own. Miranda's husband experiences a miraculous wood incident and does his husbandly duty. And boy, did Kim Cattrall make the right choice by staying away. And she was in Porky's, all right? Remember? The one who howls like a dog during sex? You remember it?
Yes.
And everyone can hear it. And the coach in the gym laughs so hard he's got to wrap himself in a pad hanging from a wall. And she wanted nothing to do with this train wreck. I'm trying to think of the worst series finales of all time. And a lot of them are more recent because TV has gotten more serialized in recent years. When we were growing up, TV was so episodic. It often didn't even matter what order the episodes were shown in. The final episode of Star Trek was Turnabout Intruder, where we get to watch William Shatner act like a woman in a man's body. And that's something, by the way. Let me just...
It is mutiny! Deliberate, vindictive, insane at its base. But mutiny is charged, and encouragement of mutiny. Mr. McCoy, Mr. Scott, you heard it?
Hang on. Here you go.
Go to your posts.
Oh, yeah, that's some good Shatner right there. So, worst series finales of all time. I mentioned Lost. Dexter was pretty bad. Game of Thrones, universally hated. And now we have And Just Like That, or Just Like Splat. Let me know if you can think of worse ones. You know where to find me.
The Sopranos.
Well, that's a controversial one. I go back and forth on that. And we could spend a whole show debating that, but I think David Chase came out and admitted that Tony and the family get whacked at the end of that. I can't get sidetracked on that. This has been your Rahner Report. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Mo.
Let me just say that I, up until recently, had seen every episode of Sex and the City and Just Like That.
Yeah, we all watched it.
I gave up in the second season of Just Like That. I think that's when Big had his heart attack. Spoiler alert.
I think he died like within the first couple episodes of the series.
Okay, then I stopped watching after that point. Now, my wife watched all the way through. It didn't have the same magic. It was just It was boring to me. I was rooting for Aiden and Carrie. And yes, I know they tried one more time in this last season. And, I'm glad that Aiden took a dump all over Carrie in this season.
What did he do? What did that bastard do to her?
No. He was the nice guy throughout the series that Carrie should have been with, but she ended up with Big. And we saw that turned out.
Yeah, well, his hats were annoying. And here's another thing that I didn't mention. And, I'm a little bit vain. I'm not crazy about admitting it, but that's more or less our generation or we're in the ballpark. So like when we heard this week about Dee from What's Happening passing away or even Ozzy dying, that's all stuff that makes people on the upper end of Gen X, well, terrified. Yes. That's the word I was looking for, terrified. The people our parents' age are all dying. Some of the people our age are dying. And nostalgia is really no comfort at all, actually. And this was meant to be comforting nostalgia. I mean, listen, one day you're knocking back some cocktails, talking to your friends about butt stuff or how your boyfriend sits on the upholstery naked, which is also technically butt stuff. And the next day you're reading about Jeff Bezos buying the James Bond movie rights and wanting to put his 55-year-old new wife in the Bond movie.
Where did the time go?
Is Ernst Stavro Blofeld trying to dominate the world through cosmetic surgery now? And by the way, there's no specific allegation in that sentence, and therefore I cannot be sued.
Are you sure about that? Because people can sue for any ridiculous reason.
I am not a ham sandwich. I will not be sued over that.
Okay, if you say so. Well, thank you for doing that. Because I was sneezing my head off as opposed to laughing my head off.
Glad I could help.
No, but that was pretty funny with the car wash claps, okay? That was very funny. I'll give you that.
Just for you.
Thank you very much.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app. I saw this story, and I didn't know where Tuala was going with this, and then I figured out where he was going with this. Playboy has moved its global headquarters out of California. I didn't know that Playboy as an entity was still in business. I didn't know what they were doing. I knew that there was no more magazines. So as far as I was concerned, there was no more Playboy. I don't know if there was even a Playboy channel anymore. I remember in the early 1970s had the Playboy nightclubs, and that was a big thing in the early 1970s. The magazine obviously was big in the 80s and 90s, but since then it's been just nothing. But Playboy, its corporate headquarters, quote, "We plan on building a content team in Miami with moving the magazine as we've relaunched the magazine and the Playmate franchise, basing all of that in Miami. And then we have a massive licensing business on global basis, and we plan on building a significant licensing team in Miami as well." Close quote. And there's some other reasons they said because of California being anti-business and Florida being pro-business, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's going to make a whole lot of difference because Playboy wasn't generating any business, because I would know if they were, because I used to support them.
Yeah, I think in the era where anybody can have access to their darkest fantasies at the touch of a button on their computer, airbrush nudes with a staple, not a big seller.
We talk about businesses which should have seen the future. I don't want to say coming, but the future that was approaching. Playboy is another one of those companies. Like, couldn't you see where all this is going? I mean, couldn't you see just in your own marketplace the use of pornographic materials or videos? They should have been way ahead of that.
Well, the thing was, and I'm not blowing smoke here, they packaged it all in a really high prestige magazine with great journalism and great fiction and great interviews, but people just wanted to look at naked women.
I know, and they used other fake justifications. My favorite thing about Playboy was the Playboy Mansion. And I can say this with great confidence and very little regret. Some great times I had at the Playboy Mansion. And you would go, and working in the music industry, someone was always having some sort of event at the Playboy Mansion. And each time you go there, you would see Hugh Hefner with women all around. The Playmates were walking all around the grounds, wearing just about nothing. The grotto is real. Okay, if you hear about the grotto and stuff going on in the grotto, it is real.
Did you see the regulars? You see like Robert Culp, Jimmy Kahn, all those guys who used to hang out there?
I saw the generation after that. The best time I had at the Playboy Mansion, and there's a picture I have from that night. It was an album release party for an artist. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. The album bombed. But it was a big deal at the time. And this is, I want to say around 2000 or so. It was Whitney Houston was there. Bobby Brown, during the height of their whatever it was. They were both high and drunk, running around. Whitney was stoned out of her mind, singing gospel songs to nobody in particular. It was one of those things. Whitney and her drug problem was an open secret. That's why people don't understand. Like, everyone knew, everyone just enabled it. Paula Abdul was there. Downtown Julie Brown, Carmen Electra, and I spent most of the night trying to hit on Carmen Electra, no lie.
How'd
and
that go?
she listened to me. She heard me out, and I think that she realized I was not one of the big ballers. We got a picture up right now on the YouTube channel. I was talking to Carmen Electra, then Downtown Julie Brown came up. I said, I got to get a picture of this. And it is, I was so close. I really thought I could have closed the deal.
So you
with
stated
Carmen
your
Electra.
case, though.
No. And then she realized, like, okay, you're not on the level of the Lakers or Bobby Brown, the real stars. I was just someone who worked at Warner Brothers Records. And then I think she said, okay, I'm moving on. But, I was shooting my shot. And, look, to my dying day, I'll say I had an opportunity.
You made your argument before the court.
Yes. And to my dying day, I think I had, let me say, happy belated birthday to Halle Berry, who turned 59 yesterday. And I think that I had a chance with Halle Berry for a moment, but
you did not.
But I didn't try to find out, because at the time she was married to one of my friends who was an artist on Warner Brothers Records. And
so you're saying it was generous of you to back off?
Yes, it was. I was doing the friend thing. Now put that picture back up, Daniel. That was taken. The photo with me and Halle was taken at her house in her kitchen when she lived in the Hollywood Hills. Look how she has her arm draped around me. She was feeling me. I could tell. I had some drinks. She had some drinks. Maybe under different circumstances. We met at a different time in life. Then she got married again. And then again. And then again. And then I got married. We just never connected at the same time. Life was not meant to be for us.
Two ships passing in the night.
Yeah. I got stories, Mark. I got some stories. Some good ones, too.
Yeah.
And when I left that night, she even kissed me on the lips.
I don't think so.
No, that's 100% true.
Did you film this? Are there photos of this?
Well, there's the photo of the night. I didn't film the kiss.
Okay, well, in that case, it does not exist.
I don't care if it's the whole, you got to do it for the gram. Pictures of it. No, it didn't happen. No, it happened. It happened.
Describe it then. Okay, that's enough. That's gross.
Look at that handsome mother father with his arm draped around Carmen Electra and Downtown Julie Brown at the same time at the Playboy Mansion. Hugh Hefner wasn't too far from us.
That is the smile of a photo bomber who knows he's about to get tossed.
But I can die tomorrow knowing that I got to put my arm around Carmen Electra and Downtown Julie Brown. And
whatever happened to Downtown Julie Brown?
I honestly don't know. She kind of dropped off the face of the earth.
Was she walking around saying wubba, wubba, wubba to everybody?
But her her accent was very prominent.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool people. I got stories, Mark, a bunch of them.
Did you know I interviewed Hef?
No, I don't know if you told me or not, but I'm not surprised.
I think we can go toe-to-toe on this.
Okay. All right. Or maybe a few other body parts.
No.
KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.